writing task 2 an absolute nightmare for you? Then let 101 with Tracy make you a better, more confident, and competent teacher. In all honesty, for you to be a qualified Ielts teacher, you are supposed to have an Ielts score, which means that you have taken the test and an Ielts certificate for you to establish your credibility. But what if you don't have these qualifications and you are required to teach such class? Teachers, listen to me. It's not a problem. You can always fake it. Don't take this negatively, okay? Pretending somebody else is not always bad, especially if your reputation as a teacher is at risk. Well, who wants to look inexperienced in front of their students? Nobody. So let's show them that we know what we are doing by following these 8 don'ts of correcting writing task 2. The first one is don't focus on grammar only. As you embrace being an Ielts teacher, this goes along with many responsibilities, and a major one is finding out the criteria. If you are really an Ielts teacher, here's a quick review for you. What are the marking or assessment criteria of the writing task 2? Yes, that's right. Task response, coherence and cohesion, grammatical range and accuracy, and lexical resource. You're right. And if you've done more research about these criteria, you know that these 4 criteria will be equally important in the test. So, why focus on grammar only? Do you know that 6.0 to 7.0 achievers do not have perfect grammar? According to the Writing Band Score descriptors, 6.0 achievers make some errors in grammar and punctuation, but they rarely reduce communication. And even the 7.0 achievers, although they have good control of grammar and punctuation, they still make a few errors. Throughout my teaching experience, I always make sure that my students address the task fully. The second one is don't immediately disregard your students' answers. Well, have you met a student who has a totally different mindset as yours? Please, teachers, don't restrict them from having so. Instead, I want you to listen to them and understand what their ideas are conveying. Yes, and believe me, you'll be surprised of how brilliant their ideas are. And sometimes theirs are even better than ours. I've encountered this all the time and it's amazing. Do you know that there are 2 dangers when you directly scrap your students' answers and force your own views? The first one, when done frequently, they usually get upset and worse, demotivated. But these are the last things that we want them to feel, right? And second, they would likely depend on your views or ideas in order to get your approval. Come on, teachers, this one is not realistic, okay? Especially during the test day. So, we want them to think independently. Number 3, don't hastily return your students' work. Although, as teachers, we are expected to be prompt in giving feedbacks to their essay, we will not be able to see all their weaknesses in just one reading. Remember, teachers, we need to look at the 4 criteria in their essay and not just one. In my case, for my one-to-one classes, I spend a day or two, while group classes, 3 or 4 days. Long, right? But come on, how can you finish checking 12 to 15 essays in just 1 or 2 days? Oh, don't worry, teachers. We just have to explain to them about this situation, and most of the time, they are much more considerate than we thought they are. Number 4, don't force your writing style to your students. Teachers, allow me to reiterate that when you disregard students' work, they often feel upset and disappointed. So as teachers, we should be a facilitator and a guide only in order for them to find their own way of writing, and but still in line with what the IELTS examiners want. For low-level learners, they tend to memorize phrases or even sentences. Well, this is expected of them because they are still adapting. However, after a month, slowly change their mindset by telling them that memorizing will not give them a good score. For high-level students, having the tendency to use advanced English words, just guide them, yes, but help them in terms of collocations and in making natural sounding sentences. The 5th one is, don't give them verbal corrections. Why shouldn't you do this? It is because, 1, they forget. Well, as a student, there are too many things they have to consider, not just your class. 2nd, what if they are not concentrating while you are giving them feedback? So, while you're talking, it's actually just a waste of time. So, in order for you to make sure that they are guided all the time, please write down those corrections. The 6th one is, don't hesitate to make them rewrite. Yes, I've included this tip because some of the teachers do not consider making their students rewrite their essays. Perhaps they think that their students already have too much on their plate. But based on students' feedback, they would gladly rewrite their essays if they need to. Surprisingly, they are up for a challenge. Now we are down to our last 2 tips. Number 7, don't only write negative feedbacks. Well, this does not necessarily mean that we are going to scrap all our negative feedbacks because they are useful. Instead, we are going to create balance between the positive and the negative ones. Mind you, teachers, positive feedbacks tell them that they are doing the right thing and they are on the right track. And last but not the least, don't forget to be consistent. If you have done all the pointers I have mentioned a while ago, persistently do them until you see that your students has improved since the day 1 in your class. I hope you learned a lot from this video. If so, please don't forget to click that like button, subscribe, and share to your friends. See you in my next video.